Are you ready for UFC 307 this weekend? Are you sure you're ready? Because it's going down in Salt Lake City this weekend, and you can get in on all the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, all new customers who bet $5 can get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using my promo code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. You can use your $200 in bonus bets to stay in on all the action. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun at DraftKings Daily Fantasy for a shot at winning cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, use my promo code SONNEN. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Right now, that's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Israel Adesanya is going to fight at the end of this year or next year, and just for fighting's sake. He didn't have anybody who wants to fight or somebody wants to fight for it, like say Tyler. So he's going to fight just for fighting's sake. Now, I do understand that, and that represents nobody. That doesn't represent anybody. Even the guy on the bottom of the card, who you don't know of, who just got signed, he's fighting for the money. Real serious stuff, right? But it's his bread and meat, and if he don't win, he don't eat. This is a very real thing. Israel Adesanya is going to fight just for fighting's sake. Okay, I don't know what to do with that. And this is one of the greats. This is not only one of the greats, this is one of the greats ever at understanding you. This is a rich, famous guy who can whip everybody's ass no matter what room he's in, and he always stayed a man of the people. He would get out of that ring, and he's got a $5 million check waiting for him as soon as he gets through the curtains, but he decides to stop and do photos with Booger Beard. And I'm always watching Izzy. And I genuinely can figure out where he's going. Genuinely. He will leave breadcrumbs. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're into studying and watching the master of the manipulation, this one is a problem. And it's not a problem for me, but a lot of the greats themselves don't know why. And I've seen this tested. I could give you names. There have been greats where a rule change, any sport, right, where a rule change will come to the sport, and all of a sudden they're not only not a great anymore, they're not even a top 10. They weren't aware of how much they relied on, and then fill in the blank. We just saw this happen in the NCAA with Dean Heil. Two-time NCAA champion on his way to a third. Do I need to add undefeated? This is one of the great collegiates ever. They changed a rule, which is so wild. I mean, I just couldn't believe they did this to him. But they changed the rule. He didn't have time to adjust. He had no idea how much his style relied on the position that the rule greatly effective. Not only Mr. Undefeated and two-time champion and great ever, they ended up not placing it. I hope when he sees this, he knows I say that out of respect. But I'll just share for you, sometimes the greats don't know all the elements that got him there. I can deal with it. I can deal with anything. I am a fighter, and adversity is my friend, right? These are all wonderful things to say, and you sit a group of children down, and you tell them, and you aspire to be just like me, but you do still have to know where the cracks are. Israel Adesanya lost a 25-minute kickboxing match against Sean Strickland, cost him a world championship. And it was a version of Izzy that we hadn't seen before. The great competitor and the great kickboxer and the great fighter and the crowd pleaser. Like, there was just a number of things that we hadn't seen before, and we knew there was a reason, and we were just waiting to be told it. We were just waiting to hear, maybe an injury over here or a death in the family, and it was emotional, but we were waiting to hear something because that simply didn't look like him. And he never offered it. He never once offered any kind of an excuse. He did state one time what happened, which is paramount. I'm going to speed this up for you, not coin him, but do a bad night. Now, I don't believe that you think Sean Strickland is a better kickboxer than Israel Adesanya. I don't think that you believe that, but you're going to see them kickbox for 25 minutes and Sean beat him the entire time. So it would appear that it means that very thing, right? Well, no, let me tell you specifically what was missing from that fight. Anger. They tell people not to fight with emotion. This is nothing personal. You goddamn right it's personal. I can't think of anything more personal. You say, well, it shouldn't be that way. Well, it is. And some guys can't deal with that. They can't deal with that emotion, and those are the guys you got to talk to them. You got to settle them down, right? You got to talk to them. You got to be real calm, real matter of fact, like George St. Pierre. There's other guys who live on the fringe. And their best version is going to come out. They're like an animal backed into a corner where there is nowhere else to go. They can stay there and die, or they can go forward. And that's Izzy. And Izzy did not have heat with Strickland. It wasn't supposed to be Strickland. It was supposed to be Dricus. Izzy had everything that he needed. He had the opponent, the reason, the anger, the crowd, the skill. He had everything that he needed, and it got taken away. And he tried to manufacture it with Sean. I watched him doing it. But that wasn't the guy that he had the problem with. And it's very important to understand that detail about Izzy's career. If you wanted to explain Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero, how did we get there? How did we get a guy coming off of a loss into a world title fight? Well, Izzy asked for him. He didn't ask for him because it was a big money fight. He damn sure didn't ask for him because it was an easy fight. In fact, it was the worst possible matchup you could give. You got a tall, skinny kickboxer from New Zealand taking on an Olympic medalist from Cuba. But somewhere along the way, Yoel had upset Izzy. I don't know that story, guys. My job is to tell you stories. My job is easier and turns into money when I can tell you a controversial story. I don't know what happened there. It wasn't a huge storyline, is my point. This wasn't something that was going to change the game. It was personal and it was real, and Izzy wanted to fight him for it. And did. And looked really good. And I could take that and just keep on transition. I could bring up Pereira and all of those fights. And what got him up and what drove him, what kept him sharp and what kept him hungry. I could bring all of that in, but I could not tell that story, and it doesn't exist without the personal side, the very personal side. And Izzy, better than anybody, tells us who he's fighting. And when we do it the other way, we're doing it the wrong way. And I don't know if Izzy is aware of that. Fighting for fighting's sake, fighting just to fight. Even the bottom of the card is fighting for money. He's fighting for purpose. He's fighting for ego. All of those things are good. Boy, all of those things make a level of sense. And some guys can get away with it. But there's things that you do to stay in shape. There's hobbies and there's exercises and there's workouts. You don't play this sport. You do not to stay in shape. You do not for a workout cage fight. It's one of the very few sports that you just do not do for recreational purposes. And Izzy is going to be a main event. He's in a very interesting spot. He's going to come back into a main event, with or without that belt. Now, there is certain cards, there is certain scenarios where you could co-main event him, but to make believe that you're going to co-main event him and you're not going to make it 5 rounds, right? What I'm saying is, in that kind of a spot, there is no fighting for fighting's sake, because that's not who the opponent will be. And Izzy even said, they'll either decide or somebody will call me out. Now, he's saying somebody will call me out. He's saying that even if he's not aware. He needs someone to do that. He needs someone to spark a fire. And if you call him out, that's all he needs. Boy, it doesn't take much. He gets pissed off fast, but you got to give him something. You got to give him something. He can't just go in there on a draw that comes out for matchmaking reasons, or a draw that comes out for convenience reasons. A draw that comes out because of the last minute replacement, we're in your backyard, we really need your reasons. It doesn't work that way. Not with him. Not with him. I can't tell you for sure what makes him tick. I can only tell you for sure he's got to have that ticking. He doesn't fight for fighting's sake. And Dana doesn't make main events for fighting's sake. So something here is going to have to give. And there's so many incredible matchups at 185. There were so many incredible matchups for Izzy that we simply couldn't do because they couldn't get to the spot to get him, which is a main event, a number one contenders fight. We have so many incredible matchups at 185 booked right now where the loser gets put in a very hard position. I mean, I don't get a fight for the title. I don't get to go on, but I'm a stone cold killer and nobody wants me and I got a super huge ranking. Like now, all of a sudden, we're going to have some fun as fans where we can start to get these guys to find one another. We can start to get top 5 guys against each other because they both stubbed their toes somewhere along the way. It's great matchups and it's great parity. But there is no scenario where Izzy, if he's looking to serve Izzy, if he's looking to really serve Izzy, he's got to find out what this is about. He's got to figure that out. Where does this get me? What does it take me? What's on the line here? Why do I not like this guy? What did this guy do to me or someone I care about? It has to be that way. And it's for most guys, it's different, but he's different. Fine line, right? It's a fine line in genius and insanity, and you really see that in the arts. And I love the idea of Izzy fighting. I love the idea that he's willing. But I do not support the idea of him fighting just for fighting's sake.